Welcome to our Elden Ring review, the game that everyone beat in the first week that it came out, even though it's like a 120-hour RPG. And we had an interesting experience compared to, I'd say, a lot of other people, in that we took, oh man, we started what, Kuma? We started at the beginning to we finished it in October. So that was about 6, 7 months of us playing that.
That was decent. It was on and off. We didn't really
Yeah.
play every day. We did that in the beginning, then we kind of die off a little bit.
Mhm.
Went easy on it because usually it takes me about a month and a half to beat a Soulsborne's game solo.
Just playing it consistently.
Yeah, consistently about a month, month and a half. Just solo, not 100%ing because
Yeah.
in this game, like Elden Ring, we actually I say we did like 96% completion of everything. We did fulfill the achievement for Steam, 100% of that.
Yeah, we got every single achievement available, trophy, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, we got every single one. But yeah, truthfully, it wasn't that hard to get it because most of them was like beat this boss and then you get the achievement kind of thing. So it was one of the easier games I've 100%ed for achievements. But there's some achievements in this game that require multiple playthroughs. Like, okay, so are we going to spoil? Is this a spoiler or spoiler free?
I say spoiler because it's mostly for
Okay.
us.
So yeah, yeah, there's multiple endings kind of thing, and they're tied to achievements. So it's like with any other Soulsborne game, they all have those. That would be probably the most time consuming thing I could think of for like you were saying, like console players. Like I know PC players for like we were playing on, it was easier because we could just back up our saves and just overwrite and then do the save again, play a
Hmm.
different ending kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. For the PS5, don't have that option no more. That you can just stick in a USB to back up your save. It goes directly to the cloud, and that's hard to mess with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a part of it was also because I kept waiting for the seamless co-op mod. Why it was taking us so long, because I was really interested in trying it when we did. We it made the co-op better because it highlighted a lot of issues that come up with the systems in these games that I probably would not have paid attention to as much, but this mod seriously, I don't know, it just opened my eyes on like what From Software is just really needs to work on for their future games, I think, in my opinion. Just like a lot of conveniences and quality of life that mod gave to playing multiplayer, and it was fantastic. It made the co-op experience a lot better because a lot of the restrictions in these games makes it very annoying to actually play with people, like play with your friends or anything. So I found this mod to be just a godsend just to play with you, and I think it improved my experience because I was not having a great experience with the co-op system in Elden Ring. I think it was pretty bad, and it was constant disconnects and everything. Their servers were terrible. We just experienced a lot of disconnects, and I just one of us would just randomly disconnect or anything like that, and it was a mess. And this was not even just like in the launch month; it was like after that too, and it still had problems.
Well, I feel like there were some restrictions that the game didn't really explain. Like like if you beat a certain boss in the area, you can't ask for help. And I think that's was a rule that exists in the game, and we don't know where's that border line. Like once you cross it, where's that line? You can't really visit. You can't see it in game. It's not visible. I think they have those such rules inside the game system. We don't really recognize it well. It wasn't. truly explain to the players. You just have to figure out on your own, which is pretty bullshit. But it's just a
Isn't
From
that the
Software
nature of
game.
these games? Just figure it out on your own,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
which actually
So that
hurts it sometimes.
yeah, so I feel like a lot of people did not like that. And then the invasion was uh kind of extreme
It was very
because at least
extreme.
at least in Bloodborne you could kill the summoner, so you can't really summon people to invade you like crazy.
Yeah.
This one, there's nothing to turn it off.
Can't toggle it off unless you play offline. But
Yeah, and you play offline, you're by yourself.
yeah, you
It's
can't
not
play
co-op
co-op.
no more.
Which people say is like, well, that's the risk. It was like, no, the systems in older Soulsborne games, yeah, there's a toggle and such and items to use. Like, is it Dark Souls 1? Just like, I'm not too sure, but it's like the humanity system and everything, but you could toggle it. Like, you could, if you still want to see messages and everything. It's not like this game where if you're on, like, online and then the minute you turn on, like, you start co-oping with people, then you're completely open to invasions. But I think the frequency of invasions really turned me off on it because there were some nights where we just got invaded like 5, 10 times in like a span of like 10, 20 minutes. And I was like, this is too much. It's like, I normally didn't mind invasions as much, but this killed my appreciation for invasions in previous games. I'm like, this is way too much. This is way too frequent. And we were literally not progressing because we were literally just hiding in bushes or waiting for the person to come to us when we're trying to find them. And it's just,
And waiting for help to come,
yeah, it's
and
just a
they like so
waiting game and
slow.
stuff. Yeah. It just really just slowed down our progression to the point where it's like, I felt like I was just like a waste of time almost. But, yeah. Wish I could bring it back, but how did we both feel overall about this game? Like, just in general, like taking in all the Soulsborne game experiences we've played and everything, and like the hype surrounding this game was like, did you think it lived up to the hype, or was it, you know,
Uh,
like, what do you think overall? What do you think of this game?
I think it's a fun game. I had a good time. I thought it was fun playing it. I would not say this is my favorite From Software Soulsborne game. I won't say that, but it's still very fun. Visually, it's still captivating. Um, some of the skills are really pretty and stuff. They add uh, some stuff that wasn't in other past games, which I appreciate. It's just a good From Software game. I don't know what else to say.
I think it was good too. It was solid. It wasn't disappointing because I wasn't expecting too much of it because I luckily did not fall into the hype machine this game had was in. Like everyone was and their mother was hyping this game up so much. But I'm glad that I didn't fall into it. Like falling into hype because it managed to keep my expectations more grounded. I think it was a solid experience overall. I think there's a lot of problems with this game also,
Mhm.
and it makes me realize that From Software needs to innovate more because this is more of the same of those games. And we had a discussion about this many times over our streams and play sessions, but I think this game is best for newbies. People that are new to these games, I think this is a just a treat. Like just experiencing these things all for the first time. Like we've put like both of us have played these experiences multiple times now. So all the tricks that they do in these games, in this game, they've done it already in other games, like enemy placement, hiding enemies around the corner or on the ceiling and stuff. Like we kind of know what to expect for that now. And it's like they're doing the same tricks over and over now. And I had expected them to do something different, but uh, it wasn't the case. So I felt that for a Souls board vet, for me at least, I thought it's definitely not my favorite experience, and if I had to rank it, it would probably be be in the middle or towards the bottom.
I think that's fair.
Like I think I had a way more, like, to tell you, like, one of my more favorite experiences of these Souls games, like just the Souls genre in general. I think my favorite experiences are just like Bloodborne, Dark Souls 2. I know Dark Souls 2 is a contentious choice, but I know a lot of people don't like that game for, whatever reason, and it's got its problems too, sure, but um that's the first Souls game that really made me understand what the appeal of it was, like these games, why people are really passionate about it. So, for me, because I bounced off Dark Souls 1 really hard. Like I got 10 ish hours into it and then I gave up because of, like, I don't like just like constantly banging my head. Like at that point in my life, I was just like, I don't like constantly banging my head around, like, on the same enemies and stuff, and I have to redo all these enemies again and again. And it's like, it's just grueling to do. And if you're not in the right mood for it, then it's just a miserable time. But yeah, I think for Elden Ring, I think I have a lot of complaints about this, and it's just, let's see where to start. I think to start with, the open world sometimes ruined my enjoyment of this game because a lot of the optional dungeons have like the same bosses or the same like dungeon layout as any other thing. Like if you see a cave layout, it'll probably be the same cave layout and like five other ones. It just felt very copy paste the game sometimes, which I kind of got bored sometimes because I'm like, oh, we're fighting the same bosses again. Sometimes. And then there were cool moments, but I feel like you could tell which dungeons and such you like, these are like the experiences that people would be talking about. Like I think like the main story dungeons and everything were so much better designed, like level design and everything, like gave me those classic Soulsborne vibes of like, oh, this is why I really liked it, because the level design is fantastic. Like the Raya Academy. It's like the sorcerer school. Like I thought the level design was very good, and also like the very first dungeon, the Stormvale Castle, was awesome. But yeah, there were glimpses of just excellence in this game. I don't know if that's how you felt, but for me, that's how I felt.
Yeah, I mean, if you apply Bloodborne, like Bloodborne has this, main story stuff. Then the Chalice dungeons was the extras,
Yeah.
procedurally generated dungeons, which is like mostly the same, probably like three varieties.
Uh huh.
So if you apply that idea to Elden Ring is just open world. So a lot of things gonna repeat. That's not strictly, story based, like those story dungeons. Everything else is just gonna be repetitive, samey bosses, samey enemy types.
Yeah.
So like we don't have to do all that, but that stuff is there if someone wanna, level up. Because like
Yeah.
this
Sure.
open world thing allows people like, okay, you stuck, but you're not stuck forever. You have an option to go level up here and there and come back. And
That's
other
fair.
Soulsborne's game, you're fucking stuck. You
It's
basically like,
linear. Yeah.
yeah,
A
if
lot
you
more
like
linear.
stuck at this point, you just gotta get very, very good at getting the dodges down, the attack routine down. So at least this way, it give you a fighting chance. So you could level up here, change things around, so you won't drop the game completely. How I dropped Sekiro.
Hmm.
Sekiro, I got stuck and there wasn't any way for me to level up. I used up all my items and you can't get it again. You can't get the
Yep.
items again.
That's a very That's a very unforgiving game. It's-
Yeah, still a very good game, very pretty game though.
yeah, it's a very good game, but it's a very I'm gonna say it's a definitely a more niche game than Elden Ring is.
Okay. So, like going back to this game as it's good for beginners, I don't know. Sometimes I say yes, but then some other time I say nah. It doesn't seem like it.
I think because of the
The,
balancing and such.
yeah, the balancing is still off, but you also gotta keep in mind we also play the mod. The mod mess with the balancing even further. So I don't know what is the true balancing of this game.
Hmm.
I think we should discuss our experiences without the mod, then with the mod separately.
I think without the okay, I guess when you think like I'm thinking about it before we did the mod, and I remember we waste yeah okay that's the right word. We wasted a lot of time going back to the same point because of, it's the same old. If one of us dies, then well if the host dies, then you have to resummon and everything like that. And then for the seamless co-op mod, if either of you die, as long as it's not a boss fight, you could just respawn at the last bonfire you touched, just like as if you were actually there, as you're the host. Made things a lot easier to come back to, like just to spawn back in, just get back to it, kind of thing. Instead of like, okay, I gotta summon again, I gotta drop this down, drop my summon design down, and all that stuff.
I remember before the mod, we were cheating. I don't know if they ever fixed it.
Are we?
If yeah, if the host didn't die, if you the person that got summoned to help die, you can always run. You can always put the sign back down. You
I'll
can
run
run.
back and then get summoned
It's
again.
yeah,
Yeah,
only in the open world, not in like those closed dungeon fights. You can't do that.
yeah.
Only in open world boss fight you can do that. So that's a really good way to like cheese around, which is really fun though. It was really fun. I had a good time doing those times.
Yeah, I think I
Uh,
take it back. I think what I said was easier for the newcomers. I think I'm wrong about that. Just thinking about how hard it was just do co-op. Just how inconvenient it is actually. The better word for it.
yeah, it's really inconvenient because as we discussed earlier, that there was like invisible borders that
Hmm.
will desummon you or
Oh
disappear.
yeah,
And then
that's
depending on
right.
where you yeah, but depending where you're at, you get certain invasions. So it's so that messed with the co-op experience a lot.
Hmm.
And because they didn't explain any of this bullshit, it kind of like makes us really agitated and angry because it's not seamless.
Yeah,
um let's, what was I gonna say as well? I lost
it was
my train
definitely
of
a
thought.
very frustrating experience. I definitely got frustrated at times with the co-op system. While
Uh-huh.
you try to think about what I'm trying to say. Um, I think for single players, like people that are not playing with friends, I'm trying to think for newcomers. Just a standard ass Soulsborne kind of experience, except open world and you got a horse and a mount. I mean, so
Well, if you think about in single player newcomer, then yeah, it will be easier because you have summons. You have these
mhm.
like um beings that you go summon to help to tank, and you could do and
Oh,
these a big
NPCs and
amount
stuff.
too. Uh-huh. So not just NPC. You can summon the NPC by touching the word right at the bottom, and then you have your own little creatures
Oh,
you can
right,
summon.
the spirit ashes. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. So that they could tank that as well. And
That
those
was
are
helpful. That's
and those are
pretty helpful.
I don't know how many you could use because
One,
they take up a slot.
one per. Like
Just
you can only
oh, just
summon
one?
one at a
Okay.
time. I mean,
All right. And you could dedicate a bill around them too.
yeah, you could like if you're a tank build like melee, you could summon a ranged character or something.
Hmm.
Vice versa. Range and summon a tank
Yeah.
to tank the distract them and stuff.
Mhm. So you could do that.
Okay, that stuff does make it easier. But I would say for our co-op experience, I would probably recommend getting the seamless co-op mod if you're gonna do that.
Yeah, if
Make
you
it
have a
less aggravating.
If you have a dedicated friend to play with all the time, then the seamless co-op mod will be perfect. But if you just you don't mind playing with randoms, then the normal from software uh you know dedicated way they made the game is the way to play for that experience.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
To get all those invasions and stuff like that. All I know is that compared to at least to Bloodborne, because that's the only one I played with you in the past.
Hmm.
The summoning is easier. You just write down the name and you click on it and you come in. And
Yeah.
Bloodborne, you gotta be in a certain location. You ring the fucking bell. You got user insight, which is limited. You
Yeah,
can
that's
fucking
right.
waste all of it. So once you
Ugh.
use all the insight, you can't summon no more. So at least this one is pretty unlimited because you could have those resources all in the world, easily attainable to make the summoning thing.
They did make that better, thankfully, but it
Yeah.
could be better than this. Yeah,
It could be improved upon.
for sure.
I mean, it's like each game, I think it's getting better and better co-op wise.
Yes, definitely. I would absolutely agree with that. My thing is that I think this game needs to push this genre further because it kind of feels like it's still going in baby steps of improvements. Like it's very incremental. Like I think the co-op, or not the co-op. I think the combat in this game is better. It's faster paced and everything, but I think it's very. Let's see if this is a hot take. I think it's inferior to say Neo combat.
Okay.
I think the FromSoft games, ever since Neo just popped out and just like, Team Ninja has been known for their combat and such, like for their Ninja Gaiden games and everything. I think ever since that, for me, it's just changed like my standards and like what I expect from these games, like and just like how the game plays and everything. Just because of what the potential could be, like say from Neo. And yeah, Neo is not without its faults because, story is worse and I don't care about it because it's just told just so poorly. And I think the world building and everything is still better in From Software games. I think they still nail that, like the mystique and everything like that, and the characters, the voice acting, and all that stuff. Just makes for a really compelling experience for that front. But if I'm playing a game like Elden Ring, I mean, hell, man, we played this game for like 200 hours because we tried to explore as much as possible. I think we got every single dungeon and we found everything on the map almost. So, um, but it was very simplistic, the combat. Like I could tell you, like probably for you, you're just slinging some spells, maybe swinging twice with your sword, and that's about it, or roll and dodge. Like for me, when I was playing my lead arcane build, which I switched over to, because I normally don't play these kinds of builds. I usually play like pyromancer or magic, that kind of stuff. So this was a little new, kind of like a more of a hybrid spellcaster-ish, but more melee. I could tell you at times I'm just like, if I had my camera on, like when I was like playing, you'd see me just like looking around sometimes, and I'm not fully engaged sometimes because I'm just literally doing the same moves over and over. I'm sure that happens in Neo, but there's a lot more variations you could do in that combat. You have a lot more options. This game is like, okay, now you could jump finally in these games. You could do jumping strikes and such, and then you could slash twice or something, and then back off, and it's like very very predictable. Uh, rotations very static. It doesn't really change. Like once you start doing that, unless you get new items and then you try experimenting, I don't feel like the combat evolves that much, like on the player's part, unless like you probably get new skills and everything, but you're still doing about the same number of attacks or anything like that, depending on your build. And that doesn't really change over the course of over a 100-hour playthrough. like right. Think the I think they could do more with the combat for sure. And maybe I guess I'm just spoiled by Neo Combat now because like their next game was at Wulong. Wulong? That game
Oh,
we played.
nice. See?
Yeah, that combat is even crazier because it has a Bloodborne director, so someone from Bloodborne uh participating in that game too, or he's working with that game now.
Oh, I
So
did not know that.
yeah, he's involved. And that's why
Okay.
that combat feels even better than Neo 2. And I was already
Oh,
really liking Neo 2 combat. That
oh,
combat in that
okay.
game was so smooth and slick.
I mean, it looks really pretty.
Yeah.
Mm,
So that's the standard now for me for combat for Souls like games like that game
okay.
that game
But
that come out.
how about okay? Since we're veterans, just how about for my new person, like someone that never played this kind of
New
stuff,
person
jumping in?
probably fine. It's I don't want to say
They,
simplistic enough, but it's like it's not going to overwhelm you too much. Which the problem with Neo is it's a very complicated combat system because you have a lot of technical like things you could do in that game. So there's a lot to learn. It's hard to master in that game, frankly. But it's more for people that want to devote time into it. Those are more of the people that are more hardcore into it, probably. So for these games, yeah, I could see that. Like for newer players, it's definitely more simplistic. So that would help. So, yeah, I mean, if you're going into it and you're not too familiar with these games or you don't touch these, and like, yeah, go with these first. It's like that's fine. Or go with Code Vein or anything like that. Those are a lot easier to get into than the games I'm telling you. But those games I'm telling you, like about Neo and everything and Wolong, and they're more technical, they demand more out of you, but they're more for people that are kind of used to these Souls like games and just want more now. So it's like a step up if you're just like, okay, I want to do more now. Yeah. Yeah, it's going back to balancing. At times we were kind of bewildered sometimes because some bosses just one shot you or two shot you out of nowhere, and we're just like, the mod or is this like how this game is balanced? Like, because the balancing feels really off sometimes in this game. I don't know. I think
yeah,
you felt the same way too. We're just like, what happened here?
especially near the end, like some of these bosses just was surprisingly very difficult.
Millennia was definitely one of them.
The final boss.
Elden Beast, yeah, and
Uh,
those last few bosses really ramped up.
in the dragon, we thought we couldn't beat it.
Oh, the Lightning Dragon.
Mhm.
He was easier than the other bosses, I think.
Okay, we only say it's easy because actually were able to beat it day one,
I also
but it
think
was still really hard
I
though.
still think you spent less time. We spent less than 2 hours on him.
Yeah, yeah, we had to try different strategies and stuff.
That was kind of fun, just experimenting.
Mhm. And at that point, we didn't even care about getting souls. We just want to win. So usually when we like, if one of us died, we were like, nah, we gotta reset the whole thing because we both want the souls.
Just about the souls, yeah.
We
Ugh.
want the credit to level up. At this point, I was like, yeah, we beat the game already. We just gotta get this
Gotta
achievement.
get this
It's
achievement, get
okay.
beat this boss. Just get it.
Yeah,
Who cares?
get the win. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, that helped. There's like just ride or die kind of thing. Just like, yeah, not bad. Uh yeah. I'm curious. How did you feel about the enemy variety? Were there enough enemies for you to fight that you didn't get bored of fighting
Um,
enemies? Or
Like
they
I
recycled too much?
well, they were recycled a lot, especially the bosses, because the
Hmm.
bosses became normal enemies eventually. So I
Yeah.
do notice that, but I play like other Soulsborne games that's not from software, and I feel like they were worse because you notice the repeating enemies much sooner. Like I play Surge, Colvin, like you did.
Hmm.
These enemies repeat it very quickly, and they get really old. At least in the Elden Ring, because it's so big, it's mixed all over, so like eventually, yeah, you'll see these creatures that used to be a boss. You fight them again, so it was not too bad because it's not like you see them every single time. It's just certain areas you will see them more often. I think it was okay for like open world. And it's for such a long game. Like remember, 200 hours are into this game. If if a person that doesn't play a game to 100% it and just go strictly towards the story dungeon, I don't think they would encounter this issue that we did.
Probably not if they don't try to complete every single dungeon on the map and everything,
Mhm.
and try to collect as many items as you can, just finding
Mhm.
every almost nook and cranny.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think this like I don't think the developer envisioned that one person will 100% it in one try. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
think they actually, you know, explore, without looking online and get whatever ending that they get. You're gonna miss a lot of stuff during your first run, so you may not like encounter all these repetitive creatures.
Maybe more when you play it on multiple playthroughs and
Mhm.
um
Mhm.
yeah, I guess so.
Mm.
It's I don't know how people do it then, just playing like remember some Steam friends of mine just playing Elden Ring in like the first 2-3 weeks and they were done. I'm like, how did you do that? They're like, this game is so much bigger than the other Soulsborne games, and you spent less time or something. It's like wild to me.
They ran straight for the end and on to the next game.
Maybe
I mean, yeah, we took our time. We enjoyed this game. We basically paid full price for it, and we got 200 hours out of it.
I
We
wanted
could
to
potentially
savor
got
it as much as
more.
possible.
Yeah, we could potentially got more hours out of it, but we choose not to.
Yeah,
I think 200 is a good amount already. Okay, I can't imagine myself putting 1,000 hours on it. I'd be sick of this game.
truthfully, I'm already sick of this game now.
uh, well, yeah.
Uh, I haven't done this approach to playing a game in a while, just playing it over the course of months. Like, not even talking about online game, but like, it's not a PvP game normally,
Mm,
just a PvE game, pretty much. So
or
playing it
not.
over the course of like half a year is an experience. Yeah, I
Okay.
appreciate that. Just like
Okay.
it's definitely been a ride, been an adventure. It's just
Yeah,
going through it.
I think the mentality have to change too, because we always like the
Mm-hmm.
FOMO mindset. So we like, oh, we got play, we got beat it, we got like catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, we kind of ease up on it. Like, yeah, we get to it. Yeah, we beat it eventually. Yeah, let's take our time.
Yeah.
No rush. It's okay. You know.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I'm not feeling like playing this week or something. And I was just like, I'm just gonna watch something or whatever. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, it felt nice to ease up. So if anything, it's taught me to don't don't FOMO so much. Who cares if everyone beats it in like 1-2 weeks? That's what they enjoy, whatever.
Mhm.
As
I
long
mean,
as you
it's
enjoy
okay.
how you go, your pace.
Yeah, yeah. And it's okay to be sucky too, because it's just
Yes.
a game.
Yes. It's okay to be sucky until people on stream tell you. Backseat you like crazy, saying you should have done this or this. You should know his moveset. It's like, I'm sorry, but I'm not trying to spoil the fight by looking it up on Fextra Life or something and telling you exactly what movesets and like how what dodge angle I'm supposed to dodge him and dodge roll into this or whatever bullshit. I'm not trying to spoil this whole fight. So then I just beat it in like 2 tries. I think it's a issue I had with people playing this game is just it's just backseating or whatever, but it's just like the point of these games is like not to spoil all this stuff. It's just to experience it and just go in completely blind. But people just seem to like look up builds and everything. It's just like I'm gonna do exactly like this and this and this. Or it's just like I know exactly where these items are gonna be in this air dungeon. Right? It ruins the magic of what was the point of these games was discovery. The sense of discovery has always been fantastic. It's always what compelled me to play these games because I'm like I have no idea what's around this corner. But these are so intricate and the level design is so exquisite that I just want to explore every little bit I can, and then I'd probably be rewarded for it. There'd probably be an item here or anything like that. Maybe there's a hidden boss here. So if you deprive yourself of that, then you just ruin the surprises. It's like, why do you play these games? I think I feel like these developers just they do want people to explore, take their time and everything. I mean, obviously people are not going to take their time. They're going to try to play as much as they can either through because they're excited to play it or just who knows. But yeah, it's overall it was a solid experience. I had frustrations at times and then at times I was having fun with it. It is a solid game. It is a good game. I don't agree that is a masterpiece, though. It is by far, by no means, a masterpiece to me. Masterpiece is, well, you should have a high standard when you use that word, or if you're comparing, like, when you're judging anything like that, like any entertainment or anything, you should have a high standard for that. So it doesn't dilute what the meaning of that word is. It should be what you perceive to be just memorable, perfect in your eyes, just worth just savoring that experience, put your time into, at least for these games. So, yeah, Kuma, I think I'm glad it came out, but also I'm not touching this game again, possibly ever in my life. At least spent so much time on it.
Yeah, I don't think I'm really gonna really retouch it because by that time something else better will come out that will add more value to the Soulsborne's game.
Mm-hmm.
And we already 100% it, so I think this we play enough of it. We got our money's value out of it.
Yep.
And I'll definitely recommend this game to anyone that like action RPG, adventure,
Mm-hmm.
fantasy, epicness. Those things. If you like any of the stuff I just mentioned, this game is for you.
Yeah. It's got a lot to offer, and my feelings on it are a little complicated. Because, like I said,
Okay.
it's sometimes I feel like, yeah, that was a fun experience. Like, I'm glad I played this with you. But then at times I'm like, oh man, this game is. That's I'm conflicted at times with this game. But hey, I'm glad we got out of the way though, finally. So,
Mm.
when Wolong comes out, then we'll spend I don't know how long. Anything else, Kuma, about it?
Any else to add to?
Anything else about Elden Ring that you want to get off your chest? Future of
Um,
this genre?
future of this
Anything?
genre. Hmm. Well, you already mentioned the fighting. It could be more engaging. Uh,
Oh, I know. How did you feel about the quote unquote story of this game? I think we talked about this.
um, like okay. Story wise, setting wise, is basically meh for me. That's why I did not rate this my favorites from software Souls like game,
Hmm.
Soulsborne game. It's not because I didn't really. I mean, really quickly, the story and setting kind of fade out of my head. I wasn't that really engaged with it. I was just playing it because I like the scenery. I like some of these characters, and I like the some of the music,
Yeah,
the visual. hmm
I
Basically,
felt the same
meh
way.
for me. hmm
Yeah, I felt the same. I think the story was pretty lackluster. I mean, it's always been bare for these games, but for this one, yeah, it felt even more bare somehow. It's just, yeah, the plot just dissipated right after you exited the first, like, once you got into the world, it was like, okay, I'm gonna explore. It probably didn't help that it's an open world, so you could get easily sidetracked. Then you probably start
Yeah.
forgetting, like, what the
hmm
plot was.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was thinking, oh, I was compared to Dark Souls 1, like maybe it's the open world because at least in Dark Souls 1, once you enter an area, you kind of like stuck in that area, and so
Hmm.
you learn a bunch about that area,
Yeah.
and the lore is so good in that one area.
Yeah.
Mm,
It's more focused. But this
mm.
game is now more unfocused because, like, here, go do whatever you want because Doma World. Honestly, the problem with open world is there's seldom few open world games where the main story is actually decent because of how much you can do in these games. So it's very easy to start forgetting, like, what was the plot? Like, what was I doing again? It was like, what was the last thing? Who are these characters again? Like, you start forgetting, like, if especially if you come back to it, like, like us, we come back to it like after a few weeks or anything like that, and it's like, and then like the first thing is in my head of like, what was the story of this again? Eventually, I just like, I don't care, whatever. It's like, let's just get back to it. I know we're in
Yeah,
this area. I know there's a boss here. Let's just get to it. It's not
yeah.
okay. This character said to go here or something, and then no, we forgot by then. It's like whether that's the fault of us coming back every now and then, possibly, but also I think the story wasn't very strong, so it didn't incentivize me to actually care too much about these characters or overall plot. Though I did love the voice acting because I think they still nail the voice acting. I think it's very good.
I agree. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Besides that, anything else?
Mm, mm, mm. I think you nailed it.
Okay. Oh yeah, we finally beat Elden Ring in about 7 months. Almost a newborn child.
But it felt good though.
It
Get
did
that
feel good.
achievement. Get that achievement, especially that last boss, the dragon.
It was a
I
sense of accomplishment for sure.
Because like we couldn't cheat. There was no cheating. That was all skill.
Yeah.
All skill. Nothing got frozen. That Gazilla fucking dragon was actually pretty hard to kill.
I just want to say, like, but I just remembered his like tactical nuke of a lightning spell when he throws in the ground and then like explodes. It looked so gorgeous and beautiful. Like
Oh
some of
yeah.
these spell effects were so beautiful.
Mm.
Some of these boss attacks. Wow. That just looks fantastic. I don't mind being killed by it because it's so beautiful. So if like a celebrity ever killed me, I was like, you know what? At least I got killed by a beautiful person.
Yeah, I see. I see what you're saying.
I mean, it can't be wrong. I mean, like you're playing on like you're playing on like your 4K TV and you're playing with beautiful magic spell, and you're just like, wow, look at those particle effects and everything.
Yeah, they're the best.
Yeah. But yeah, this will not be our last Souls like game. Hope.
Mm-mm.
But Elden Ring, pretty okay. My ringing endorsement.